It's a Broadway show, and we're back with another stacked episode. I'm Tamsen Fadal. Here we go. Let's do the time warp again. The Rocky Horror Show is back on Broadway at Studio 54, featuring an A-list cast. Let's send it out to Paul Wontorek.
Mr. Luke Evans, good to see you. How's Broadway?
It's good. It's great.
You
I'm enjoying it.
Titillating and terrifying Broadway 8 times a week. Frankenfurter.
I certainly am, yeah.
I mean, what is it like living with Frankenfurter and living alongside Frankenfurter?
Probably the most fun I think I've ever had in doing anything as an actor, yeah. I'm very excited. I have butterflies when I'm in the car going to the theater every night, which is a lovely feeling. I also love the process of looking at myself, Luke in the mirror, and then slowly seeing Luke disappear and Frank appear to the point where I'm completely gone. I look in the mirror and I'm like, okay, well, there's this creature, and I'm loving it. It's really, really fun.
The look is very unique, actually. The first time I saw you come out on stage, I was just like fascinated by the wig and the choices. It's such a great sort of down and dirty version of Frankenfurter. What was it like developing that?
I remember the first artist's impressions that David Reynoso, the costume designer, sent to me.
Fantastic costumes.
Incredible. I mean, if you'd seen the original ones, they were even more risky. But I immediately could see somebody, a designer who wanted to really push the boat out and really do something different, but with an homage to who Frank is. You know, the DNA of Frank is there. It's just he may look a little different. And I was ready for it. I mean, I never said no to a single thing. I wanted to try it all and find, you know, a look that worked for them, but also for me, and also practically how I could wear that costume every night and be comfortable to a certain extent, of course. It was about a 3-month design process. I'd stand there in fishnets and we'd try a leotard or then a thong or a jockstrap.
Right.
This is a character that I never thought I would play, and it's so far removed from everything I've ever done. And part of that was the reason why I wanted to do it. I wanted to prove to myself and to show the world, you know, like as an actor, if I'm brave enough, I can take on something that is so far removed from who I am and what people have seen me, and and that's why it was such a thrill to do, and the most liberating experience of my life.
So is it fair to say this is one of your bravest moments?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, just brave, just putting the 7-inch boots on every night, heel boots. You know, they're not easy, and they
You make it look easy.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of practice.
Okay.
And a lot of limbering up before you see me on stage. Even walking downstairs is a terrifying thing because you're basically on tiptoes, 7 inches taller than you are.
By the way, stairs covered in fog.
Stairs covered in fog, and a cloak that goes down past my feet. You know, you rehearse. That's what rehearsals are for, and practice, and make it look easy and normal, and like that's what Frank wears every day of his life, and sure enough, he does. So I have to make it look like it's my normal life too.
Just another day in the life of Frankenfurter.
Yeah.
And the costume that you wound up in,
yes,
it's showing off all of your assets. Let's just say that.
Yeah, and weirdly, I've now lost 17 pounds.
Oh wow!
Since start of rehearsals in February.
Because are you not hitting the gym?
I am hitting the gym. I just, I'm basically doing 3 Barry's boot camps every night.
Right.
It's a lot, and it's 8 times a week. So I am burning calories like crazy, and I'm okay with it because it's sort of being a little slimmer and tighter in this character. It sort of works. But they've had to take out 2 panels in my corset because I've lost so much weight.
Wow.
But it works, and I'm very fit now, very, very fit.
I love the hair too.
The hair's amazing.
The hair
was a brave choice because, of course, a lot of Franks have the famous Tim Curry style hair, and I'll be the wig designer, the hair designer, and Sam, the director, and David Reynoso, and myself said, let's depart from that. Let's be brave and let's do something different. Let's turning more into a slightly more of a rock star, grungy style Frank.
Are you having fun with that wild crew of performers?
I love them.
Yeah.
I love them. They're my family. And I think they all were very aware that I was turning up and I hadn't done theatre for a very long time and I was in movies, and I do wonder what they thought on that first day of rehearsals, but they all welcomed me with open arms, and they've been the most supportive group of people, and I think we're all just so happy to be there.
That's the nice thing about throwing yourself back on stage, right? I mean, I don't think you get that the same way behind cameras.
You don't. Maybe when you're doing a stunt or jumping off a building or meeting a famous person that you're working with for the first time. I remember meeting Ian McKellen and having the same butterflies on set of The Hobbit. But no, with theatre, it's the live aspect. Even before I'm on stage in the Rocky Horror, I'm standing behind a shutter and I can hear the audience screaming, and that in itself is, I mean, I'll never be a rock star, but that's as close to being a rock star as I think I'll ever get, and it's a magical thing, and it happens every single night.
It's good to be King, but it's also good to be Scar. Tony nominee Gavin Lee is Scar in The Lion King on Broadway. It's Gavin's third role in a Disney show. We had a chance to chat at Dear Irving Broadway. It's so good to see you.
I'm so happy to be here again. It's been 8 years.
I can't believe it. And we still look so young.
Well, we do. Haven't aged a bit.
Oh my gosh. Was this a role that you had looked at before and said, "No, that would be fun," or I don't know, you know, what was it? What was it about this one?
I'm going to say 6-7 years ago, just start putting it out there into the world. If ever this role comes up anywhere around the world, I want to be seen.
What makes Scar so delicious? Like, I know as an audience member, but I don't know as a performer.
He's just despicable. Every line is sarcastic or a new discovery of how it's all about he wants to be king. And he's going to do anything. He's going to kill the king so he can be king. He's awful. And he's got these 3 idiot hyenas that will do anything he says. And his big number, Be Prepared, when you've then got an army of 50 hyenas all dancing around you saying you're going to be king. It's just, I have a moment in Be Prepared, I call it my Evita moment, because the music's pumping and the hyenas are dancing away, and I just turn to the front and I just feel I'm hitting an Evita pose, like Evita, like this, because I'm just like, I'm going to be king.
You know what's funny about that role is that every time I've seen the show, I'm like, okay, this time maybe it'll be a little bit nicer to at least the child, right? And I know the story, but I keep hoping it's going to change somehow. Isn't that funny? Because he's so awful.
Yeah, it's fun because we have fabulous actors playing young Simba, and I'm trying to find places where I'm talking to him, but I hate his guts. I hate young Simba.
Yeah.
And so for no reason, I'm finding places where I can just shove him out the way or poke him. but the youngsters are so oblivious, like, hey, Uncle Scar, what are we going to do today? And you're just like, get out of my way. And it's so nice to act being horrible to a little young cub.
I guess it has to just feel so amazing at the end of the night, though, because you know the people that come to see this show all over the world, and the songs, everyone's just, they're sitting in it there with you when they come into that theater. You know, it's not like they don't know. You know, they most understand the story, but it's just got to be amazing to see that.
What's amazing is I'm the first. Scar is the first scene after the fabulous opening Circle of Life. So I'm downstage right, singing along in the wings, because I'm not in that number, seeing all this magic happen on stage. And 3 times during the opening, the audience erupt because of what they're seeing. The visuals are so delicious. You know, the elephant coming down the aisle, getting up on stage. The giraffes, the Pride Rock coming out of the ground, seeing the young baby Simba. I mean, the audience has gone wild before I even set foot on stage. So the number ends blackout, and I get such a buzz that the audience is already cheering, and I come on in a blackout. I find my little white cross on the stage. I have my stick, I have this massive costume, and I just flick my switch, which works the mask that goes vroom. So I get in position in blackout, they're still cheering, silent, and I just go vroom, and I'm in that mode. And I'm like, here we go, audience. Everything was joyful. Now I'm about to kill a mouse. The first thing I do is this little shadow mouse comes across, and with my stick I poke it, spear it, And my first line is like, life's not fair, is it, to this mouse? And that first line just sets up, oh, you're that guy. I'm Scar on Broadway in the original production of Lion King. How lucky am I?
After all these years, Wicked is still as popular as ever. Let's head over to the studio for an exclusive musical performance. Let his flesh not be torn, let his blood leave no stain. Though they beat him, let him feel no pain. Let his bones never break, and however they try to destroy him, let him never die, let him never die. What good is this chanting? I don't even know what I'm reading. I don't even know what trick I ought to try. Fiera, where are you? Already dead or bleeding? One more disaster I can add to my generous supply. No good deed goes unpunished. No act of charity goes unresented. No good deed goes unpunished. That's my new creed. My road of good intentions led where such roads always lead. No good deed goes unpunished. Welcome back to the Broadway show. I'm Tamsin Fidel, so let's get back to it. Operation Mincemeat has infiltrated Broadway. It's the bonkers true story about British spies who tricked Hitler. Here's Beth Stevens with another edition of Building Broadway.
So let's say someone was just walking down the street and saw the sign Operation Mincemeat and knew nothing about the show. I don't think the title would offer them much, so
Certainly not.
how would you describe it to someone walking by?
We describe it as the thing that it is, which is a true story of a crazy MI5 mission that tried to trick Hitler into moving thousands of men to the wrong place. So that's the story, which is it's kind of what hooked us in to begin with. What a crazy thing, a part of World War II we never knew existed. And then we say, but at its heart, it's about a small group of people who band together to try and move the needle of history. And it's just a lovely, and an always important lesson, but particularly now more than ever, that we see stories where people can really make change. Even if you feel very, very small, there's always things you can do to make they feel like the world can be a better place.
How do four brains write one musical? Horribly.
Slowly.
Through legal teams.
Torturously.
Yeah. We get together and we look at a section of the story, and anything that jumps out that one of us goes, I think this could be a really great song. And so we all sit down and think, okay, if it were to be a song, what is the energy, or what is the kind of the kernel of the idea that we can all, as four minds, agree we want to see?
Is there a line?
Is there a line?
We
Is there a
boil this
hook?
down to a single line.
Yeah, and then once we've got that, whoever feels they maybe have the most, can see it the best, or who simply has the most time that week, will take it.
Or loses a bet.
We'll take it for that week and have a first pass at it and brings it back, and then it gets mercilessly torn apart by the other three, and that process continues and continues until
We throw it in the bin
later,
and
you
start
have-
again.
Yeah, and then
Is there
Or
a
go back
vote?
to an earlier
Because you're,
version.
Yeah,
you're
and realize
evenly
what we have
split.
on.
So if there's a vote, does someone come in?
We tend to say that it needs 4 yeses. You know, there are very, very rare occasions where, for time's sake, we've had to go. We've got 3 yeses. We know this isn't quite the exact thing because somebody's still unsure about something, but we need to move forward. What's really great is that we respect each other's opinions to the point where we're like, even if I am determined that this is a brilliant idea, if one of these guys is putting their hand up and going, guys, it's not, something about it isn't quite right yet, even if they don't know what that thing is, you're like, we've got to sit back down at the table and figure that out.
Yeah.
Because
Even one drop of poison in that
Yeah.
glass and the whole thing's gone. So we have to go back to the drawing board.
God, that's brilliant, really brilliant. God, that's brilliant, so daring and so cunning. Seen the splendor, dreaminess, experience, and genius. These are the ingredients you need when you're making a plan.
So if the real life Operation Mincemeat team saw this show, what do you think they would make of it?
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, their children have all seen it.
Yeah.
All their families. In fact, when we did the very, very first run of the show, in a tiny little, you could fit 9 of that theatre in this room. And there was, and we got an email one day saying, oh, just wondered if there are any seats for tomorrow. And we're like, we're sold out. We're sold out, I'm afraid. And they came back and said, oh, well, we're Ewan Montague's children.
And there's 14 of us. And we're like, okay, no
Make an extra
worries.
round.
We'll go back to our, and like, yeah, the next day.
We forgot it was real. We forgot they were real people.
But it was great because his son, who was a very old
Very old,
man,
like
and then
his
his
80s.
grandchildren and his great-grandchildren, this is an 80-seat venue. They made up, I would
Front
say,
two rows.
30%
Yeah.
of that audience that day. And obviously, on our show, Ewan Montague, my character, we take the mick out of that man quite a lot because he represents the establishment. And we were just like, oh my God, this is going to be so awful. And we did the show, and at one point, this lovely old man just leaned over to his, and just went, and he was like, yeah, it's a woman. He was like, right. And then we finished the show, and one of the venue managers came in and was like, Tash, the Montagues want to talk to you. And I was like, I am going to be found in a bin 3 days from now. That's fine. Oh my God, but I have to. And we went through the doors, and this lovely woman, who I later found out her name was Sarah Montague, just opened it up. I went, Granddad! And gave me a huge hug. So sweet. So I think they'd be.
I mean, they've expressly said that they think the
They think
show.
he would love
Yeah,
the
the show
show,
really like
and-
captures his comedic.
He's a very funny man.
Sense of fun,
Yeah.
and and I think
I think Chumley might be initially have
Horrified.
issues with how he is portrayed, but in the end he comes out the best. He comes out
does,
as a very honourable
yeah.
man, and his family also love it. The Bevans have been.
yeah,
Even the Flemings
yeah.
like it. Can you believe it?
Yeah, even
Amazing.
Yeah.
I think they're just delighted that the story's being told.
Told
Like,
in
they love
like a
it.
fun,
I think they'd be
joyful
surprised.
way.
Other than Montague, I think they'd be surprised that they are the 5 that we're focusing on, because that's not who those people were. They were doing it for their nation.
It takes a whole lot of people to keep a Broadway show running, from the stars on the stage to the orchestra in the pit. And then you have all the people who are behind the scenes. Let's check in with Perry Sook.
As you can see from the line, Hamilton is still a revolutionary hit. I'm headed inside the Richard Rodgers to meet the man who keeps it going for over 20 years strong. Guys, we are now inside the Richard Rodgers with the house manager, Tim Petalina. Tim, thank you so much for the time today, especially on a busy 2-show day.
My pleasure. Welcome.
Of all the positions in theater, house manager might be the one I'm the most unclear about. What exactly are your duties? What is your day-to-day?
Well, basically, I run the front of house. So I do a lot of payroll, I do a lot of accounting, I deal with all of the customer service problems and also with the staff. Also any time there's any issues with plumbing or any kind of emergency situations with the building itself, and the dressing rooms, we have to make sure that everything is taken care of and we have to call in any kind of workers to come in. So you're basically running the building, making sure everything is smooth for every show, 8 shows a week.
I heard you have some duties we got to complete.
That's right. We have to go do a walkthrough and check and make sure everything looks set for tonight's show.
Well, Tim, do you mind if I follow you around on your walkthrough?
Come right with me.
Awesome.
Okay, and you can see they're setting up, they're doing preset on
Sure,
the stage.
yeah.
So we got all
Everybody's
the
getting ready.
fun sound effects. Yeah. And then we're gonna go up to the mezzanine. First, we're gonna check the box seats as well.
Yeah, so what exactly are we checking when you say check the box?
So we're making sure that the seats are in the correct order. So you have number 1 is closest to the stage, number 2 is in the middle, number 3 is furthest from the stage. So because when they sell the tickets, they tell the customers, this is closest to the stage, this is furthest from the stage. Otherwise, people sometimes try to move them around because they want a better view. So now we're going to check all the fire exits, right? Make sure everything is the way it's supposed to be.
Just making sure they're closed, or?
And that they're free of any obstructions.
Oh, that's good. It's good to know someone checks that. Does that complete the walkthrough?
That's pretty much it, yeah. And then I wait for the stage managers to tell me when the stage is ready, and then we tell the house to open.
So Tim, you're right here. We're right on 46th Street, right in the heart of Broadway. But I got to ask, what does Broadway mean to you?
Oh gosh, well, ever since I was 4 years old, my parents took me to Broadway, so I always loved it, and I loved being a part of any production I could. So
basically it's been my whole life.
And that's going to do it for us. But for tickets, or if you want to see some extended cuts of the interviews, you can head over to Broadway.com and be sure to check out The Broadway Show Uncut, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Tamsen Fidel, and this is The Broadway Show.